Oke, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Kita ketemu lagi di daring yang kesekian. So today we will discuss about fluid segmentation using DeepLab with our speaker, our excellent speaker, Mrs. Rizkyana Dewi Intan Puspitasari from Data Science Department, Universitas Negeri Surabaya. Okay, I don't read the curriculum vitae of Mrs. Rizkyana because the CV was so many excellent record. So for this time, it's directly to you, Miss Rizkyana. Okay, thank you. Maybe this is enough for me.
Okay.
The time.
Okay. Thank you for the opportunity. Today it's very awkward to say in English because we usually use Indonesia, right? But today is special days maybe. So I will directly tell you for the material in English today. So okay. So okay, thank you for the opportunity. Today I will deliver the material about our research in fluid segmentation using DeepLab V3. Actually, this is our result of research with our partners, Mrs. Dila and Mr. Danang in the other department in mathematics. So in this research, we are just focusing on segmenting the fluid area that has been damaged, and we want to segment this area to become in the future maybe we want to get the mapping area, or we want to evacuate for the fluid itself. Okay. I can tap the next button. Operator, please. Okay. The introduction for this research is the first one is from the data from the PNNP. So there is 3,044 catastrophic, and the biggest one, or the very frequent catastrophe, is the flood, which is it has 1,031 event in that year, in the 2022. And yes, we know that the damages come from this flood itself is just mesmerizing, right? Because it can damage the home, damage the facilitate, and maybe it can be a whole death itself and from the people itself. So we want to have the rescue plan for this flood catastrophe. And actually, next, the currently, back. The current situation or the current plan for the mitigation itself is just doing by the rescue team. So they just manually tracking the route for this flood, and it just takes times. Takes the people who can just contribute this in this rescue team, and it just takes so many resources, right? So we want to minimize this by get the easiest thing, like we want to get the area itself by computing this area, like we want to monitor this flood area by using the UAV. So next. Okay, so to to help the rescue team to monitor the flood area. We want to get help by the UN. This device will fly above this area and takes our and get the apa sih bahasa Inggrisnya ya Allah and get the images, okay, the images from this damages area, the flood itself, so it can help the rescue team to better capture the damages area, the flood itself. But the goal itself is just not the monitoring itself, but we want to get the faster rescue. So maybe some people get damaged and we want to evacuate them properly and faster. So we want to make a system, the automatic system to get the data from the area, and we want to get the group the area or like the segmented area from this flood. Next. Okay, so we use the semantic segmentation. Okay, the semantic segmentation itself is just grouping the pixel, and yes, it's like the supervised learning method. We want to classify each pixel into some labels. So if we just look into the above picture, there is a dashboard of a self-driving car here. There is some object like car, street, building, and trees, and etc. And we want to get the clustering area, like a partition area from this object. Like I want the red labels as the car and the yellow label as the building and the pink label as the road. So we want to itself can identify the object itself. So if they just meet or get the pink area, they can just get forward. But if they meet the red object, they can avoid it. It's just something like that. Because if we just input the whole picture, the machine itself cannot identify its object. So we have to segmenting its object into several levels. So it is similar to the classification task, but in the more pixel object oriented. Okay. Okay, this is the semantic segmentation. Next. Okay. There is a state of the art from our research. There is problems and challenges and the whole picture of the segmentation semantic. Okay, segmentation semantic is just labeling the partition area into some labels. So this is a classification problem based on pixel partition. And the challenges for the segmentation semantic is there is because we get process the video images. So if the T is just get increases, so the image might be different image from the previous time. So if the images just get different, maybe we have the same classification or the same label as the previous images. So this is the challenge for the semantic segmentation. The other problem is the noises. Maybe if from the acquisition, the data acquisition, maybe there is some cloud, or maybe there is the illumination that affect the acquisition itself. So the result might be different because some noise itself. Okay. From these challenges, we want to approaches this problem using the deep transfer learning. So the deep transfer learning is just using the pre-trained model from the previous research, and we want to get this knowledge to our data, because the data itself maybe not many data is just we can access that. So we have to get the pre-trained model from the other data, and we can train the model by this pre-trained model, the previous model. Okay, next. Okay, this is the diagram from this research. The first thing is we get the literature review, and we explore the data, and we annotate the data, and we split the data into 2 or 3 data set, like the train, test, and validation. And after that, we focus on the model's preparation, like the pre-processing process, and we create the model and we implement the model into the system, and we evaluate the data validation. And the last step is just we want to test and evaluate of the result using the accuracy, precision, recall, and F1 score. And the last thing is using the mean IOU or the IOU. Next. Okay, this data. Okay, the data set itself. Yes, actually, the goals itself is using the real data by the capturing the data using the UFV itself. But because we just we don't have any UFV device, so we use the open data resource. We get the data from the FloatNet data set, from the FloatNet Challenge Track 1, from the ArcVision 2021. This dataset is contain several video capturing from the past catastrophe, and the dataset is contain 2,344 images with the high resolution UFV dataset with its mass segmentation. And because this problem itself is unsupervised learning, because there are only 398 data that has mass segmentation. So the whole data itself doesn't have any mass or label. So with this limitation, we are only focusing on this limit data set. Okay, from this data, there are 10 labels that is background, and building with the flood, building with not flood, road with flood, road with not flood, and water, trees, cars, vehicle, or pool and grass. So if you look at the first row, okay, this row, this is the samples of the images captured by the UFV itself. So the UFV just fly above this area and capture some area under that. So, and the next one are the under that is just the segmentation labels. So if we just look at this, maybe they have 2 dominant colors like green, blue, and yellow. But if we look at this class itself, there is 10 class. It actually have 10 colors, right? But we just make a difference of variation by the gradation. So it might be have the same color with the other labels. Okay, next. Okay, for this, for the method for the segmentation semantic itself, we use the DeepLab V3. This is the network architecture for the DeepLab V3. The DeepLab V3 is using 2 modules, the encoder and decoder. For the encoder, they just focusing on feature extraction. So from the input images, it comes into the Atheros convolution. There are some kind of mechanism of convolution, just different with the conventional convolution, so like CNN before. But in the DeepLab V3, the encoder itself using the Atheros convolution mechanism, some layers like convolution 3x3 convolution layer, and it produced the 1x1 convolution that is the most extract features in the last step. And for the module, the decoder, The decoder itself is just focusing on processing the feature that produced by the previous encoder layer. Okay, the decoder module is just focusing on processing feature extraction and processing the predicted label. So they will upsampling the previous layer into the bigger one, and they will produce the segmenting area. So the output is just picture images with some partition with their color. Okay, next. Okay, this is the whole picture of our research. So maybe I want to explain the first one. By this picture, the input itself is frame by frame images from the UFV capture images video. So we just cut some videos into some timestamp. After that, we just cut into some frame data, maybe 1 second into like 10 images. After that, we just utilizing the backbone encoder. And after that, we just combine with the DeepLab V3 head and we get the output. But in this research, we just not focusing on DeepLab V3, but we have to combine it with the several backbone model. So we use the deep transfer learning here using the ResNet 50, EfficientNet-V4, and MobileNet. In this backbone, we also utilize the pre-trained model using the VGG ImageNet. And because we want to maximize it, because we have the limited data, so we have to maximize the classification result using this backbone. And after that, we just combine it into the DeepLab V3 head. Okay, from this data, okay, like the previous one, I'm just explain that we only have 398 images, and we want to split this data into 60 ratio, 60% as a train to 20 as the test and 20 as the validation data. So after we get the output, this output, like we have to evaluate this using the MIOU accuracy, precision, recall, and advanced score. Okay, next. Okay, this is the result of our research. So the first one is we want to know about the evaluation metric itself from this backbone, the variation of backbone. So we use the main method is we use the DeepLab V3 model to segmentation, and we have several method backbone for this variation. We want to compare it using no backbone, and we using the ResNet 50, EfficientNet, and MobileNet. And we want to compare it with using the evaluation data and test data. And this table is showing the evaluation using MIOU and accuracy. And from this table, we know that the most or the best result is get into the ResNet 50 with use there is the result is 0.530, and the second one is EfficientNet, which is has 0.514. But if we look to the other data set, like we want to compare the validation and test MIOU, there is some big gap here. So if we look at into the ResNet 50, the gap itself is too high. Like file MIOU, it gets 0.53, but for the test itself, it just get like the EfficientNet. The gap itself is not that big, maybe just 0.1. Like for the validation MIOU, it get 0.651, and for the test MIOU, it get the 0.48. It also get for the accuracy validation here, the ResNet 50 also get the overfitting condition, which is the validation accuracy, it get the 0.8. 0.6, but for the text accuracy, it gets the 0.83. Next. Okay, after we look into focusing on this backbone, we want to focus on its class. I'm just mentioned before that we have 10 classes, and we want to know about the evaluation in its class. So in its class, we show this evaluation in recall, precision, specificity, and F1 score. And we have, yes, the result is quite good, which is the average score is interval from the 0.8 into the 0.9. And from its class, we know that the most or the best result is in the GRASS class, and the least evaluation result is get into the background. It's very normal, because if we look into the data itself, the class that most frequently showing up in the images is the GRASS, and the background itself is just limited because we don't know about the background itself. Maybe the background is like the grounded or the sky, but maybe the most frequently class that's showing in the images is the GRASS classes. Okay, next. Okay. Okay, the next is after we want to know about its evaluation metric of the class and the variation of the backbone, we want to compare the images semantic segmentation result in its images. So the first one here in this the first row is the sample test. So this is the raw images from the UFE images frame. And the second one here is the ground truth or the label, the mask itself from this data. And under this, the second row is just showing the variation of the backbone and no backbone from this model from the deep lab. And if we compare its model into the ground truth, the most similar prediction with the ground truth is the EfficientNet before, because for the backbone, no backbone, ResNet 50 and MobileNet is not very detailed. So maybe the most detailed one is the EfficientNet before. But yes, because we just remember that the MIOU score is just so low, so maybe it's not just detailed as the ground truth. Okay, next. Next. Okay, the last one, after we know about the prediction result in its images, we want to compare the result with the other studies. So there is several studies that also focusing on semantic segmentation using the FluentNet dataset. So we want to compare it with the different method. But the things is the two other method is using the whole picture, like they are using the 2030, 43 UFE data, but our result is just using the 393 UFE dataset. So there is a gap, a big gap here. But the result is not quite bad actually, because compared with the other studies, the values itself is maybe just higher, some is higher, and yes, the all evaluation is higher than the other studies. So maybe we just with limited data set, but we get the best and better result compared to the other studies. Okay, next. Okay, the last one. For the conclusion, so this research is just comparing the model for semantic segmentation using DeepLab v3, and we just variate using the variation of the backbone itself using no model backbone and using the ResNet 50 model, EfficientNet model, EfficientNet and MobileNet. And the result is quite good compared to the other studies. And the most significant, the best result is just get into the AviationNet before with the maybe the not complex one, because the AviationNet and ResNet is just different model architecture. But with the complex one, like ResNet 50, it has just get the overfitting condition. And for the visualization, we get also the AviationNet before for the best or most similar with the ground truth. Okay. You guys want to know more about our research, you can ask directly to me in this forum. Thank you, Mr. Hassan. Back into you.
Okay, thank you, Miss Rizky. This is so much interesting discussion. Thank you for the explanation. So, from our member here, maybe you have to ask. Yeah, yeah, because this is the potential English for the final exam this semester. So you have to ask in English also. Thank you.
My name is Azun Rasik Azinar. I'm from Data Science 2022. My question is, what challenge or obstacles have you encountered in this research? Thank you.
Okay.
Okay. The first question is the challenge, Mr. Miss Rizky.
So I have to ask directly this
Yeah.
question. Okay. Thank you for this question, Aswin. Yeah, the most challenging problem for this research is because the limited resource. Because we don't have any GPU computing system, we don't have any the big or large computing system or big database. Maybe that's very challenging one. So yeah, the previously I'm just subscribing for the Google Colab Pro, and it just yes, maybe for 1 month it can take about 2 or more, maybe 2 or more subscription. So yes, because this problem itself is just different with the very conventional like the image classification, because the segmentation it just needs so many time computing, and the complexity is just different with the normal image classification. So maybe yes, that's very challenging for our research. We're just hoping like our department get some research so we can buy some resources to help and gain our research problem. Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Rizky and Mr. Azwin. Do you have any question, Mr. Azwin? No. Yeah. I think the problem is just a technical. Yes. Because the theory and the other, Ms. Rizky was the expert of this. Yeah. Okay. Maybe any question? Okay, if you don't want to.
Can we saw the Miss Rizky face?
I want to ask any question.
Yeah.
How do UAV connect to computer whether using Arduino IDE or DeepLab? How do UAV connect to computer whether using Arduino IDE atau DeepLab? Or DeepLab? Atau bahasa Indonesia aja. Gini, bagaimana UAV-nya nyambung ke komputer? Apakah dia itu pakai sensor Arduino IDE atau DeepLab sendiri gitu?
Oh, okay. I get it. So yeah, yes, our goals is just we want to implement our method into the real case, like using the UAV one and connect into our computing system. But it's also the challenges because we don't have any UAV devices, so we just only use the open data. So the open data itself is just performed by the other people, like the other team, the other people resource studies, and they just acquisition the data. So they just using their UAV data and just capture into their system, and they just share into some platform, and we just download this data. So we don't. Yes, maybe in the next future, maybe we have to earn. We can integrate the UAV into our system. That's our goals. Okay.
Oh, Mr. Rifa. I think we have some collaborate with maybe Electro maybe or something like that, yeah, from the other department. Yeah, we can integrate it this research with the some prototype maybe with UAV, the real UAV. Yeah, for this our campus, yeah. This is so much fluid. It's so much. It's related, yeah. It's related. So okay, maybe yeah. You can ask in bahasa. Yeah, okay. Ask directly to Miss Rizky.
Bahasa Indonesia nggak apa kan?
Iya.
Aduh. Jadi sebelumnya perkenalkan, saya Salsa Rahma dari Sains Data 23C. Di sini saya mau menanyakan apakah di lab 3 ini bagian dari computational matematik in image processing yang diterangkan oleh Pak Hasan beberapa minggu lalu. Karena tadi saya lihatnya kayak sama, menangkap gambar dan mengidentifikasinya lewat warna. Atau keduanya adalah hal yang berbeda.
Mau saya jawab?
Oke, karena pertanyaan bahasa Indonesia, saya juga menjawabnya bahasa Indonesia kalau gitu ya. Oke. Jadi iya, jadi kan ini kan problemnya segmentasi semantik. Jadi ini tuh bagian dari computer vision juga. Gitu. Jadi domainnya cognitive itu dia lumayan luas ya di sini. Nah, bisa deteksi gambar, deteksi apa? Suatu objek. Nah, ini bagian yang dia tuh segmentasi. Jadi langsung mewarnai si objeknya tadi. Jadi suatu label. Gitu. Jadi emang bagian dari computer vision itu sendiri. Gitu. Tapi kalau yang Pak Hasan kemarin mungkin dia pakai cara yang ini ya, dalam sisi matematisnya kan ya, dia pakai metode apa digabung gitu kan. Ini juga sama, tapi dia lebih ke datanya itu tadi. Jadi nanti ya semester berapa? Semester 5 nanti dapat deep learning, nanti bisa belajar deep learning. Jadi pengolahan citra juga ada. Tapi ini versi yang combine dengan deep learning-nya, metodenya itu. Jadi based on data.
Jadi bedainnya itu lebih ke bentuknya atau perbedaan cahayanya? Buat warna.
Kalau bentuk apanya ini?
Kan tadi kan kayak diwarnain yang bagian mobil ini, yang bagian pohon ini. Nah, itu warnainnya itu sesuai kayak bentuknya atau perbedaan cahayanya. Kok bisa tahu kalau itu bentuk mobil?
Iya, dari bentuknya. Jadi nanti kondisi apapun dia, kondisi cahayanya beda, kondisi ada noise yang kabut atau apa, dia masih bisa mengenali itu mobil kayak ini bentuknya. Bahkan kalau problem yang ini dia adalah UAV kan, dia video. Jadi UAV-nya dia akan merekam data di bawahnya ini. Nah, dia akan bergerak gambarnya nanti. Nah, kalau bergerak dia akan berubah bentuknya. Dia menyesuaikan bentuk yang ada tadi. Gitu. Oke.
Sama satu lagi kalau yang arah angin itu loh, yang angin muson barat, muson timur itu juga termasuk pakai itu kan? Soalnya kan kayak beberapa menit itu gambarnya gerak gitu, warnanya juga ganti-ganti. Atau pakai itu juga. Saya lihat di BMKG biasanya.
Enggak, kalau ini problemnya itu ini ya, kan kita pengen mendeteksi, misalkan ya banjirnya ada banjir nih ya di sini Surabaya lumayan parah. Nah, kita pengen tahu nih supaya timnya nggak harus menyelusuri semua wilayahnya, mereka pakai alat ini UAV-nya untuk merekam area banjirnya kan. Nah, di sini ya udah, kalau ada nanti hasilnya berupa areanya, area banjir yang mana, area yang bukan banjir yang mana, udah gitu aja. Jadi nanti ada angin badai gitu kan, ya tetap dia bisa mendeteksi. Ini banjir, ini bukan banjir, ini pohon, ini
Jadi nggak terpengaruh.
nggak terpengaruh. Tapi tadi yang paling menentukan atau yang mempengaruhi itu adalah cahaya biasanya. Kalau ada cahaya kilat gitu kan, atau dia mungkin gambar UAV-nya itu kena angin ya, dia gerak, nah itu mungkin dia akan mempengaruhi. Kalau UAV-nya gerak, dia goncang gitu kan, nah mungkin dia akan berubah hasil sempasnya nanti.
Sudah, terima kasih.
Okay,
Ada lagi?
thank you for the question. Isma, maybe?
Oke, sebelumnya perkenalkan nama saya Ismatul Iza dari Sains Data 2023C. Jadi di sini saya mau tanyakan, tadi datanya kan ada, pembacaan datanya kan ada 10. Iya, 10 kelas. Itu kalau misal
10
ditambah
kelas.
jadi 11 atau 12 kayak baca apa gitu apa bisa, Bu?
Iya, tergantung depend on data. Jadi di awal itu emang pas akuisisi data ya, kita harus di awal maunya kelas berapa kelas di sini. Kalau 10 kan dia tadi ya ada pohon, bangunan, banjir gitu kan. Nah, kalau mau ditambah ya tambah lagi nanti. Jadi setiap mau sebelum masuk ke mesinnya tadi dilabelin dulu datanya, anotasi dulu. Jadi mau tambah ya, misalkan 11 data ya. Jadi dia tambah lagi, misalkan 11 itu yang adalah orang, gitu, diwarnain lagi. Kalau 12 tambah lagi kelasnya, apa kelas yang lain? Misalkan kendaraan, vehicle, motor, atau mungkin sepeda, tambahin lagi.
Oh, berarti itu bisa berupa video deteksinya, berupa video gitu.
Iya, nanti setelah video dipotong-potong gitu kan, ada timestamp-nya, setelah itu di-convert ke frame images. Jadi video kan dia hasilnya kan banyak gambar kan ya, yang di-combine gitu kan. Nah, itu kita cang-cang dulu setiap frame-nya itu.
Jadi kalau misal mau 11 itu warna-warnanya juga kita mau
Semua,
inputin ya
iya,
warna
semua.
diatur sesuai mau
Jadi,
kita juga.
misalkan kalau 11 label ya, siap data yang dia ada 11 labelnya ya kita semua warnain setiap kelasnya itu
Iya,
sebelum masuk ke mesinnya. Tapi kan nggak semua data dia memuat semua kelas kan ya. Ada cuma data tuh dia memuatnya cuma banjir sama atau dia cuma rumput sama bangunan doang. Nah, itu nggak semuanya dilabelin sesuai dengan kelasnya. Kalau hanya dua ya dua aja yang
iya.
dilabelin
Sudah, Bu. Terima kasih.
gitu.
Thank you. Any question here? Maybe Mufti or Cecil? Miss Dila, maybe you want to ask something to Miss Rizky? Ini satu tim ya? Kalau itu. Alam, no?
Timnya atau alam-alam.
Okay. From this participant in the Zoom, maybe there is question. Okay. Okay, if there is no more question, we can close this discussion. It's so much interesting, yeah. Maybe for our discuss, if we discuss this, no more enough. Okay, thank you, Ms. Rizky, for your explanation today. We learn about deep transfer learning. Yeah. So we know about nature learning, deep learning. Nah, this is the new one about deep transfer learning. Yeah. Okay. Maybe there is our student interesting to this. You can contact to Ms. Rizky.
Okay,
Okay,
for sure.
maybe this enough. Thank you for your participation. I will close this discussion today. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam.
Okay, see you next time. Next semester ya.
Thank you,
Next
everyone.
semester.